I think the question that comes to me is about how I met Jesus. And actually, I was actually only 8. And my parents were already Christians. They had come to know God when they were about, both of them, when they were about 18. And then they met, well, actually they already knew each other. But anyway, they ended up getting married, obviously. And I grew up in a Christian home, and we were part of a fairly traditional church. But my mum and dad used to run these little youth groups for kids. And I think my first memory of just thinking, actually, I don't know God in the way I should, was when I was about 8. My mum was talking about heaven, and I remember specifically saying to her, am I going to heaven? And she said, well, you're only really going to heaven if you know Jesus. And then it made me think, well, actually, do I know Jesus? I know about Jesus, but I didn't know how to know him further than just knowing about him. And so she said to me, well, what I really needed to do was to say a prayer and talk to him and invite him to come and be involved in my life. And I remember going home and doing that, and I did feel really different. I was just excited. I was bouncing around the room like, I don't know, I just had a sugar high or something. And I think I just went from there. It wasn't like things were easy as a kid. It wasn't like it fixed, and soaring through the sky great from there. But I definitely knew him in a different way. And then the next probably stage in my life was when I was about 14. I went to a Christian school. But all my friends there, obviously, they weren't all Christians. And I remember one morning in assembly, we were being encouraged to enter into the singing and the worship. And all my friends were sat down with their arms folded. And I know it was significant in my life because I felt God say to me, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit down with your arms folded? Or are you really going to worship me in the way that you know you ought? And I remember standing up, and the only thing I could do, I couldn't just do this. I had to go like this, and otherwise I wasn't going to do it. And I raised my arms and I sung with all my heart. And I just know inside me that just changed things. And from there, I've just never looked back really since then. I've never needed to question my faith, although I have gone through times of searching, what is truth? What is God's word say? What does the Bible say about different things? And you go through that. But I certainly have followed God's path and heard him to talk to me and lead and guide me when I've seen many friends go off the rails and do stupid things and end up in broken relationships and all sorts of things, when I knew they didn't have that closeness with God, and they didn't ever really learn how to listen to God. And because I did, it really did keep me on the right path. And I knew, even to know what university to go to, I just really felt I went to the right one because God wanted me there and there was purpose in it. And then coming from Australia to England, I always knew as a child I wouldn't stay in Australia, and I knew in my heart God wanted me here. Just amazing ways in which God's led me over the years, and I definitely wouldn't be without him.